This is my friend Michael.
Mother adores.
Mother adores him. I'm going to interview you.
Okay.
Michael and I have known each other since, how old were we?
We were 13 in junior high,
We were
middle
in
school.
junior high. Junior high school. It's very cold outside right now. Since junior high, and then
In math class. Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah, and then I remember I was waiting for you in the street to walk to the high school for the first day of high school. And you walked up and you'd been like, you know, my friend in junior high. And then he walks up and he's like, hello, it's me, Michael. And your voice had dropped like 5 octaves. It was like, Michael, you're a man.
I was a man. I turned 15.
And he had a little furry mustache.
Oh, yeah, that little...
Yeah.
The little one that doesn't fill in
Right.
until you start shaving
He
it.
was so tall and thin, and he had a really
Adam's
tall
apple.
and thin brother and a tall and thin sister that looked like a supermodel. Yeah.
We were like Jack Sprat.
Jack Sprat. I was the other half of that equation. What do you think about us moving out of the country?
I can't wait for you to be gone. Oh, wait, you're leaving? No, I think it's awesome. I can't wait for you to get there so that I can go visit and then never leave. Yeah.
Ooh, what are you drinking?
A margarita.
It's the cocktail of the day.
Can you get with artichoke heart?
It's
I don't
not
know.
artichoke.
I don't know why you put artichoke in it, but it's pretty tasty.
Happy birthday, dear Dan. Watch Ellie, she's gonna eat it. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, guys.
Make a wish.
I will.
Don't do it.
We gather here today.
I'm so glad that we could gather for this occasion.
We went to the museum yesterday.
Okay, yes.
Oh, there was so much wonderful stuff and beautiful quotes, and there was films, and there was pictures of historical things in Alaska. Oh, there was this quote by some person named Shauna Lee about how much you like to gather in Ketchikan, and I just thought that was really the best thing. It's like,
And he will not ever let me live it
I will
down.
never shut up about it.
Okay, so tell us why you decided to move to Mexico in particular.
Warrants, mostly.
There was
Interpol.
quite a few reasons this started several years ago. We had thought about a better climate and close proximity to the U.S. because at the time, my husband's mom was still alive, my parents are still alive, so we knew we wanted to be accessible to the U.S. and we weren't quite done here yet. We wanted to, still come back and do some traveling during the summer, but mainly it's to expedite the retirement process and enjoy some year-round good weather. In Seattle, we can go for months with great.
Yeah,
I
and-
mean, doesn't mean anything here to what we're seeing in Ketchikan.
It's been awful.
It's still February.
They sold their house. Tell them about the whole process, because you were thinking about it, and I was going down to Seattle and watching your place for a month at a time in the winter while they went to Mexico to look around. But tell them the timeline of when you decided this is it to now.
Yeah. So I think we sort of had an understanding that we were about a year or so out, maybe a year and a half. But this spring rolled around, and we just kind of seeing what's going on in the country, and also just wanting to get away from the Seattle winters. We have really enjoyed the time that we've spent in the winter in Mexico, and we decided, what are we waiting for? And it went from sort of a what if conversation to calling a real estate agent who had helped sell another family member's house. And within a month, we had the house listed. And so it was a flurry of 2 months of, number one, getting a house ready to sell. And that means taking care of the contents as well as the house, as well as the house. You're not just packing to move, you're basically editing down your life to what is important and what fits into the next phase of your life. So
And you have much to say about that.
yes, I do. So pretty much, you have some idea where you want to bring certain items down, but then you realize, depending on where you're moving to, the logistics can be either too much of a burden or too expensive. It just doesn't make sense to move stuff down. So we started editing and we started removing stuff, and we had an initial garage sale, and that scratched the surface. And whatever you think you have probably 4 to 5 times what you think you have. What comes to mind when you think of, oh, well, we just sell, pretty much everything we want to sell, keep what we're going to take with us, and distribute important family items to other family members who might take them, or somebody who can hang on to, photographs and things like that until you're settled, right? But what we found is once we started, things come out of the woodwork that you just don't even imagine. But if you look around, and every little thing sitting in your house, everything on the wall, everything in your drawers and cupboards and attic and basement, those are the things that when you really start digging in, you realize just how much you have. And it goes from, there's a process to it. But we were very motivated. So I think we were able to expedite that process, because most people, I think a rational approach would be to start editing down the stuff, the meaningless stuff that's just in the way. And once you start that process, the ball gets rolling pretty quick. But you still have a certain amount of things in mind that either you want to keep or things you think you have to keep that are family, memorabilia, or things that have important meaning applied to them. What happens later, as you realize just how difficult it'll be to move items, that the item takes on a different meaning, and you start to realize the cost of owning all those items, and the picking up, moving it to another area to clean and dust and put it back. And it's the whole thing of saving things because you'll think, they'll be useful someday. And of course, the day you need it, you can't find it. It's, I had a good idea where I'd like to think I had a minimalist approach, because I would regularly have boxes and bags in my house that I would put clothing and other stuff in that we would get rid of over time. But it's amazing just how small that added up. And we were living nothing near a minimalist lifestyle. So, and that's, you don't have to do that, but it helps.
You've been on that journey for quite a long time, because you and I have talked over the years of we have just too much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have been kind of getting rid of stuff over the years.
I have, and it kind of mentally prepares you to want to do that. And once you start realizing how freeing it is to get rid of all the stuff, you'll start to be motivated to make different decisions. And like I say, in the beginning, you get very selective, and you have things that for some reason you don't know how you're going to get it there, but you think, okay, it's too useful, or it has too much value, or there's too much history or family sentiment on it. You just sort of put it aside. That, okay, you'll figure it out as you get towards the end, because if you don't take an approach to address this stuff aggressively in the beginning, by the end you're going to be in panic mode, and you're going to be just giving all kinds of stuff away, because the value that you think it has,
it's value to you, but not to anybody else.
It's value to you, but it doesn't come anywhere close to that. in garage sales or even posting online for resales. It's kind of shocking how little resale value most things have.
Yeah.
And trying to get somebody to understand the importance of, say, a piece of artwork or antique furniture or something like that. It just really comes down to, is there anyone willing to buy it at that time? And if there's not, then you got to drop the price down until, or you end
Please
up donating
take
it, or you end up just donating it. And we ended up doing that, a lot of that. We gave a lot of things away. We gave a lot of things to friends who we knew would appreciate them. And we gave important stuff to other family members that could be passed down to nephews and so on. So certain things can stay in the family. But in the end, we ended up with 2 hard-sided suitcases. One was for a speaker that we're going to bring down, a small Bluetooth speaker, but sizable because we both really enjoy music. The other one was just large enough to fit a large, all-in-one Mac computer. Those had clothes stuffed around them. We have 2 duffel bags, and those are what we're taking down with us on the initial trip down to Mexico. And we have our Airbnb set up until we find a place to buy. But when we find a place that we want to settle into, all we have left here are 4 plastic totes
So crazy.
of items saved at our neighbor's house in their basement. And I think probably 50 to 75% of that is going to end up coming with us. I think we're going to edit that down as well. Because again, you think you have time and you think
Yeah.
it's all going to go much smoother than you think, but especially if you're selling a house and you're getting ready to move out of the country, those are 2 huge life events, and do not underestimate those.
Yeah, I will never forget. You remember when we moved to New Zealand, and I got my life down to 13 boxes, which I thought was really good. But I had 2 little kids, and the boxes were mailed, but they didn't show up in New Zealand till 5 months later. By that time, we decided to move back.
Yeah.
But I opened the boxes, and there was a garlic press in one of them. And I remember looking at the garlic press and thinking, did I think I wasn't going to get a garlic press in New Zealand? And I had already bought a whole bunch of stuff already because we needed it when we got there. And I think I maybe took 2 boxes back. Mm-hmm. None of it mattered. I had not seen it. It had been on a barge going across the world for 5 months. And I left most of it there.
Yeah. Truly treasured items. Give those to somebody that you treasure. And
That's good
it
wisdom.
sounds difficult in the beginning, but when you get towards the end, you're basically just handing it out the window to anyone who will take it, because you don't want to bring it to recite or to donation.
Yeah.
We were in a very accelerated, situation. We listed the house, and on the first day it listed, we had a viewing and an offer by 8 p.m. that night.
The universe said time to go.
Then it was like, okay. The decision had been made for us at the clock. Basically, we're down to the last 30 days. And then everything accelerated because you got to do all the little, tweaks and fixing of things in your house and getting it ready to sell. There's inspections and other things that you have to address. Luckily, we didn't have a lot of that because we've been maintaining the house. But like I say, don't underestimate these tasks because they're monumental. There's also, if you're working, so I was working full time as well, right up till a week before we
That is
left
so
Seattle.
crazy.
Closing out my job, and I'll still continue to work remotely on small projects here and there. But I told them I do not want a full-time job. So if you're thinking about
He's
this
not even
now,
60 and he's retiring to Mexico.
yeah, if you're thinking about this now, just really think of an end date and start to work backwards from there. And if you're listing your house, depending on the market in your area, you could be in a market where it's basically that you have an offer within the first few days, or it may take longer. So you'll figure that out. You don't have to be present to have your house shown and sold. So, but could just kind of work backwards from there. of closing out your job, packing up your house, getting it ready for resale. And then if you have, pets, kids, that's a whole nother world.
Yeah.
So we have one small dog, and that was a consideration as
That's
well.
why I had an extra dog in the house on the last episode, was because I had gone down to Seattle, and knowing that they were going to go into this full-on move everything out, let's get out of here mode, I brought the dog here because I knew that they were going to come and visit before they left for Mexico.
Yeah.
And so I brought their dog Bobby with me. Eric didn't know it, and I walked in the house, and he's like, Bobby! And he goes, was I supposed to know she was coming? I was like, no.
That was a big help because Bobby was already freaking out a bit with all the changes going on around
And
the house.
she likes being here
Yeah,
with the pack of dogs.
exactly.
So.
So
Yeah. And so you guys are leaving Monday, and you will be in Mexico by when?
So we'll be in Mexico the next day. Well, that same day. So we leave Alaska. We fly down to Seattle. We arrive at 3 p.m, and we're on a flight at 6 a.m. the next day.
The next day. So this is it. How are you feeling now that you're done? Everything is packed, and you are ready to go.
Because we've been considering this for a few years, and we knew what we were getting into. We knew what we wanted. We had a goal. We had an idea of the lifestyle that we wanted, and I think Shauna's already talked about this, about laying out your goals and your expectations, and finding what suits you the best as far as location, and finding a new place to settle. Initially, we didn't have time to think about it, because it was just everything started so fast once we really made that choice. And I'm kind of glad it did that, because if you don't have a solid date in mind, there's human nature. You could drag this on for another 2-3 years.
Yeah. Better to pull the Band-Aid.
Waiting for things to happen and waiting, don't do it. Don't wait. If you're ready, just start taking those actions. Leave boxes by the door and just tell yourself, okay, every day I'm putting 5 things in that box. When the box is full, it goes in the trunk and gets dropped off a donation.
Yeah.
That's good advice for almost anyone, I think, because we all have, I think, an excessive amount of stuff that
We don't
could be
need.
put to better use. And just clear the clutter. Make room in your life for more things, and make room in your life for more time, not dealing with the moving, the dusting, the cleaning, the organizing, the overwhelming, sort of the overwhelming sensation of trying to manage all this clutter.
Yeah.
And never being able to find what you need, and just buying it again or something. It's
I've done that.
yeah. It's a good trap to get out of, but also the more you let go, the easier it gets, especially if you are dead set on moving and you're committed to what that new lifestyle is. Sean had asked how I felt about it, and like I said, initially I didn't have time to think about it. Honestly, it was just get through the day. I knew what the goal was. I was motivated, and I was okay with it. But what I didn't expect is occasionally when you're saying goodbye to friends or you're talking to family about this, it kind of comes in waves of, questions about what you're doing, or, whether or not you're going to miss, your situation, because there's a certain level of comfort and familiarity that you're going to not have for a while until you get yourself settled in the new place. But when we think about actually what we were doing in our prior situation, I don't think we were at a point where we were taking advantage of everything as much as we could, because our life was getting a little smaller and smaller as other people moved.
Yeah.
Our life situation changed. As you get a little older, you're not up as late, you're not out as much, and you get really comfortable at home. So there's going to be a lot of mixed signals and a lot of mixed feelings in that. But just remember the goal, and be clear on what it is that you're trying to obtain with this move.
Yeah. When you decided to move and you were looking for property, and it kind of was in the back of my head, like, well, if he leaves, what am I here for? Right? Because, I mean, truly, like, you have anchor people in your life, you know, and you are an anchor person. And I'm going to cry now. But, like, once you were like, okay, we're leaving, I was like, well, what am I staying here for? Right?
Yeah.
You know, and I knew that Chrissy was coming along, so there's an anchor going with me.
and I think about that as well. But what I realized too is the 1 or 2 times a year that we'd end up seeing each other.
I know.
We'll have more time to do
Right.
that.
And now I get to go to Mexico to visit. So
what I told my family is I said, you know, I'll be able to spend more time with you now because I'll be coming back and forth between Mexico and Seattle and Juneau to visit my mom and visit my family in Seattle. But I won't have the time constraints of
working all
of a
day.
day-to-day job.
Yeah.
With the remote stuff I'll be doing, I'll be able to spend more time with them.
And you'll be coming to France to visit us because we love to travel in Europe. So.
Yep. Oh, we already have destinations in mind
Yep.
there. So.
Yep. So, well, thanks for sharing all that because I know it'll.
Sorry, it was probably a
inspire
little
people.
wordy, but
No, it was all good. Like everybody needs to hear it. We all need to get rid of our stuff. So, and nobody wants your junk. It's
Nobody
junk
wants
to
it.
everybody else.
Nobody wants it, and if they do, if you mark $1 on it, they're gonna walk away.
Yeah. So anyway,
Or have a quarter on it.
from Shauna, Chrissy's over there, Eric's there on the couch, Russell and Dan are out there. Au revoir from Retire Boldly. Thank you, Scott. Love
Thank
you.
Love you too.